Welcome, everybody, to the Only Eye Athletics podcast, the show that values hearing your stories, reliving your adventures, and learning information that can help us improve in all aspects of our lives. I'm your host, Dean Banco, and I know you enjoyed today's episode as much as I do. All right, today I have my friend Paul Henry on. He's got this new exciting OCR race in the Pittsburgh area called Project Mayhem. So I wanted to get a little background on the race, his goals for the race, some of the things he might experience. But then I also wanted to dive in a little bit into his OCR background, first off, to show people he knows what he's talking about since he's done so many different obstacle races and just his background in general. So I guess to get started, Paul, thanks for coming on, and I'm really excited about this race you're going to put on next month.
Great to hear that. Thanks for inviting me onto the show.
So I guess the first question that people probably want to know, or at least what I want to know, what got you in the OCR to begin with?
I probably need to go pretty far back. There's probably like a few phases of running an OCR. I didn't grow up running at all. Like as a kid, I was like into baseball through like middle school. And then I got into like BMX biking and stuff, like dirt jumps and skate parks and all that. That was a lot of like high school. And then I was 19 years old the first time I ever ran like more than a mile. And that's because I joined the Marine Corps and was forced to do quite a few physical activities. Um, so then I started running a little bit. A couple years like into the Marine Corps, I discovered like Runner's World magazine and started reading that. And I just thought it was like really cool how people could like run a marathon or do like 50 marathons in every state or something like that. And I was just in the back of my head, I was like, this is like a bucket list type thing. Like that's pretty cool. Um, so running just kind of like slowly developed in my early 20s. I came back to Pennsylvania and just would jump around into some local like 5Ks, 10Ks type of thing. And then I think it was 2011. I don't know how I discovered it, but Seven Springs Resort in PA had a race, Mud on the Mountain, and it was like late 2011. And I went and did that, and it was great. I loved it. The following year, I did like a Warrior Dash. The year after that, I think it was Mines and Meadows Spartan race, like 2013. And then there's a few more like OCR races along the years, but I kind of started focusing a little bit more on like just like half marathons and trying to like accomplish that goal. So I kind of got out of it a little bit for those few years. And then really there was a big push like 2018, I think it was. I was working a job and we were in like this big like office space type area where there's like desks all set up and everyone's like in an open big room and you have like monitors and desktops and stuff and you can just like walk around the whole office. And this one day I was like walking over to the printer or something and I happened to like walk past this guy's desk and I didn't know this guy at all, but I just walked past his desk and I happened to like glance over at his computer screen and as we do at times he had two big computer screens open, and one was like Spartan Race's website, and it was for the Ohio event, which was like the following week. And the other screen was on like Google Maps directions to Ohio. And I'm just walking past and I'm like, I don't know who this guy is, but like maybe I should talk to him because he seems cool. So later that day, I would like go up and talk to him, and that was Dave, and we're still good friends now. And he's like, yeah, I know all these people in Pittsburgh that are like going to this event. Like, you should come out and join. And I'm like, yeah, I've done a couple of those in the past. Went out and joined. It was like a week later or something, and I had not been training. I signed up for the Beast, which is like a long day. But I had a great
Back
time.
when it was long.
Yeah, like it wasn't 13 miles. It was 15, 16, 17, who knows? Lots of mud too on that Ohio course. Um, and then just like kind of got in touch with the Pittsburgh crew that was doing like Spartan races and go ruck events and different types of things. This was like 2018, 19, 20 range. Um, and really just that's kind of like where I like fell into it hard, and really started getting into OCR pretty heavily. That following year, I think I um, signed up for like the Spartan season pass and just did a few dozen events that year. And the following year as well, just went pretty heavy at it. Um, and that's kind of where I fell into it heavily. And ever since then, it's been a big passion of mine, just the OCR races and trail racing, just trail running. I love it.
So, would you say you prefer the longer distances or the shorter, and like how OCR is sort of formed now compared to the grittiness, or would you prefer the grittiness of back in, say, the 2011, 2015 era?
Definitely prefer the grittiness of back in the day. Big fan of that. And kind of the event is a little bit more focused around that. Um, there was a big push for like standardization. What, 3, 4 years ago, maybe Spartan Race was like, oh, let's go to the Olympics. Let's standardize everything. Um, Not a fan at all. I'm not for that. If you are, that's great. Like there's a market for that, but it's not the style that I like. And then in terms of like distance, just personally speaking, I guess longer distance, mountain stuff and longer distance is just personal preference.
Yeah, I'm more of the gritty person myself. If I'm going to do an OCR race, I'd rather get muddy, dirty, scratched up a little bit. Maybe not my back scratched from barbed wire or anything like that, like we used to. But, the hill climbs, I'd rather, for 3, 4 days have to get dirt out of my ears with Q-tips just because it's folly soluble.
Yeah,
Those were the good old
yeah,
days.
yeah. Good old days for sure. Yeah.
So, and then you had your OGs back in the day, like the Amelia Boones and Cody Moats and stuff like that. And then when Brian Atkins, first jumped on the scene, those type of people. Now the names sort of, I don't want to knock anybody who's in it now, but they just don't promote the athletes like they used to.
No, it's pretty unfortunate because yeah, the OGs, a lot of the gung ho guys that are still going after Spartan racing every year, they have a little bit of a bad taste in their mouth for what Spartan has done with like the competitive scene. And people talk about like is OCR dead and stuff, and um, maybe the competitive side of like US racing in OCR is a little bit dead because they just don't seem to care about it. Um, but you still go out to these races and there's like thousands of people showing up to a Spartan weekend. I was just out in Palmerton, what, last weekend, 2 weekends ago.
Yeah,
There's
two,
Spartan
I
race
think,
out
well, a
there.
week and a half.
Yeah. And there's thousands of people showing up. People still love it. People still go out there and do it. It's just the competitive side. There's really been no push to promote and encourage that.
Now, since you do go to a few, let's say Spartan or other OCR races during the year, do you think Palmerton had a good crowd because it's one of those courses that are known to push the limits and it's just like a known course, or do you just think in general, from what you've seen, that it's a pretty standardized size crowd for the years?
I don't know what it compares to in prior years. Um, I guess just thinking about it, I'm thinking about like Ohio, which I also did a couple months back, and that was you just go into the venue area and see what it looks like and kind of have a good idea if it's a solid turnout or not. Palmerton's been around for so long. It's like it's a mix of like it is a challenge and people in the Pittsburgh, Philadelphia surrounding areas. Like there's a good volume of people around that probably get interested and sign up and end up going out every year. So it's a pretty good venue for the guys.
Yeah, it's almost a rite of passage if you're ever going to do a Spartan race.
I could see that. Yeah. Personally, Palmerton is kind of one of my favorite venues because it was the first one I went to that was like an OCR race that was, I guess you could argue that like Mud on the Mountain was a ski resort or whatever, but I don't really count that. But Palmerton was the one where I was like, oh my gosh, like these mountain races are pretty freaking cool and I want to do more of these. Like that's where I got the itch to do more like Jersey, Killington, the mountain type races.
So is Spartan your, say, your go-to race series, or do you do like the Savages, or what was your all-time favorite race brand?
Spartan's kind of the go-to because there's so many of them. It's just kind of easy. You know, they kind of control the market a little bit. Um, Savage Race, I do love, and I've done a few of those. I try to get to the Ohio one if I'm available. I've not done their PA one yet, but I've done a few Savages. Um, Indian Mud Run was pretty cool back when they were around. Honestly, the favorite brand, OCRWC was a great time. I did 2 years over there when they were in Stratton, Vermont, and that was just a great venue and a great weekend.
I will concur that OCR Worlds, I went to Canada, and just the atmosphere and just the people in general, like you had your elites, but at the end of the day, everybody was getting along, hanging out, and it's not cutthroat like you may think for a world championship. Like everybody's buddy buddy, and sharing dinners, and hanging out with their teammates and intermingling and stuff like that. Except for Canada was
Yeah,
kind of cold.
yeah, I bet. I've not made it up to any Canada races yet. But yeah, the community's great. Everybody's they're racing out on course, but once you're finished up, high fiving and chatting with everybody.
Yeah, I do sort of
Just
miss the
super.
team events, like the team tents and stuff like that, and how even like 5 years ago that it was like teams and stuff, like different regions had the teams, and now it's sort of just more individualized. I think it kind of took away from OCR in general, but it's kind of hard on one of those things because the number's been down, so that might be factored in as well.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
what was the hardest obstacle that you've ever done, or your favorite? Well, and or your favorite?
Tough question. There's a few that like pop up in my head, and there's like obstacles that I can picture in my mind, but like I don't remember what they're called. And I'd probably say OCRWC is probably going to have, if I were to pick like a favorite, it's probably going to come from there. I don't know what it was called, but it was kind of like towards the end of the event. They had like a rig and the big metal round beams or whatever. They kind of like spin left and right, and then they spin like
Oh
forward
man.
and backward. Um, I forgot what it was called, but you kind of go through that thing. That was pretty fun. I enjoyed that one. But OCRWC, there's probably like 5 or 6 obstacles in there where the like come to mind where I'm like, those were pretty fun.
Yeah, I always hated for some reason this well, sternum checker, just because people always got hurt on it, but dragon's back. I absolutely am deadly afraid of dragon's back because I smacked my chin on it once, and ever since then it's like a mental game that I just can't do it.
Yeah, I can see that. It's a interesting one. It doesn't really bother me, but when you're up there and you're about to jump, uh, yeah, I can picture why. It's just like I don't know if it's a balance thing or you just have to be like aware of your surroundings. And that kind of motion to jump onto something and grab a bar is we just don't do that in life very often.
Well,
So
it
it's
looks
kind of
far it
weird.
looks farther away than it actually is.
Yeah.
If you go on the ground, it's only like maybe 4 feet from the bar, but like in well, it goes back to Canada at OCR Worlds when I did it up there. It was the first time, and it was so wet and slick. Like you grabbed it and your feet just went whoop. And that's like when I hit my chin and I'm like, in my arm, and I'm just like, this is horrible obstacle. It's like unsafe. But I guess everybody has one of those experiences in an obstacle course race where they have that one that they just mentally check out at or they just hate seeing in general.
Yeah.
So getting to your Project Mayhem race, well, it's a 2 day event. Um, what made you decide to make your own OCR race?
It's been in the back of my mind, like bouncing around for a few years, I guess. Um, Kind of back to when maybe Spartan was trying to push for like that standardization and um, things were getting a little more tame. And there's just a lot of talk of like, oh, where's the obstacle innovation at? Like nothing's changing. Everything is just getting simpler and weaker. Like maybe there should be something that changes it up a little bit. Savage Race has always been there, but they've never been interested in like trying to grow and push their thing. They just have their typical dozen races a year or something, kind of on the East Coast and down south and such. And they just do their own thing. Uh, so yeah, it just bounced around in my head back and forth, like kind of be a cool idea, you know? And then really it kind of took off. I have a buddy, Ryan Taylor, who's been putting on the Tapped for Sap 25K over at Bradys Run Park. He started that 3 years ago. And I've been going to that. And sometimes I'll go for a run with him and just talking with him a little bit about what's it like to put on a trail race? What's the park been like? How they've treated your event and all that, and just kind of picking his brain on some of these things. And it just led into him introducing me to the park director at Bradys Run Park. Sat down, talked with him, and they're like super supportive of, hey, this event sounds great. We'll hook you up with stuff, and we'd be glad to have you out here if you want to do it. And everything was just like falling into place. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm here. I guess I'll do it. So I'm just diving right in, jumping right in, and going for it. Um, so we'll see how this year goes. But overall, like it's something that I think will just bring at least once a year to Bradys Run Park. Um, should be good for the area. I think that park is like it's a great park. I've been going there for like 15 years or something. I kind of grew up nearby, and like people don't realize how great that park is. I think the mountain biking community and like triathlons, there's been some events that have gone on there over the years. But as for like trail running, really nothing's picked up until about 3 years ago when Tap for Sap started. And then more recently, like Rad Raccoon um, switched over to going there. And now people are like picking it up as like, oh, hey, this is a pretty cool park and they got some cool trails. And there's a lot more activity going on over there.
So, as you said, this is taking place at Bradys Run Park. Can you explain exactly where this is, and then like some of the facilities that this place actually has?
Yeah, Bradys Run Park is probably 45 minutes north of Pittsburgh, I'd say. It's a fairly easy drive. It's just straight up like 376 west. Going past, like if you get to like the Pittsburgh airport, it's probably another 20, 25 minutes north of the Pittsburgh airport, right off 376. So just going straight up north. They have, it's a county park. They've got some nice facilities. One thing they're popular for is like the ice rink arena, and that is closed in the summertime. So it sounds like we have access to that, and that's kind of where the venue is and like the start and finish line for the event. So inside this ice rink arena is bathrooms and facilities and places for like vendors to set up, people to go in. I think you were there at Rabid Raccoon, so you probably are familiar with it. And I think they had the whole like expo inside there during Rabid Raccoon.
Yeah, yeah,
And even like the finish line and start line might have been inside, I think. Um, so that this race as well that I'm putting on will be start and finish kind of right outside the ice rink right there.
yeah. So like there is bathrooms, and then we're gonna have access to the showers in as well.
I've been told yes.
All right. Because I know that's one of the things with the OCR races, people always want to have showers or hose off because if you get muddy and
Yeah,
dirty, who wants to sit in a car for, maybe an hour or two if they're traveling, say, from Ohio, New York? That sucks.
exactly.
Too many times
Yeah.
we've done that, and it just, oh, your car smells and all that type of thing. Um,
Yeah. For days after. Yep. I think mine still smells a little bit from Palmerton. So how it
it,
goes.
it's hard to get out, and you just don't want to clean it because you just don't have the time.
Yeah.
So, what is the theme of your race?
Theme. I don't know if there's a theme. It's about having fun, you know? Um, Kind of the approach here is that we're going with a trail race and an obstacle course race. Um, the idea behind that is sort of it would be cool to put on a trail race where maybe some people who are into road racing or trail racing don't know anything about OCR. And maybe I get them to sign up and they come out on Saturday morning and run the event, have a good time. And guess what? There's a bunch of obstacles around. They just like ran past and see at the start and finish line. And maybe they, jump around on them a little bit. And, it kind of like it might help to push some people who've never experienced obstacle course racing um, towards that a little bit on Saturday. And then they're like, maybe we'll come back Sunday and race the event or sign up for an open wave later in the day or something. So I think it's a cool approach to, showing people who don't know anything about it something about it while they're just like out there on a trail race and they thought that's all they were going to do. And then the obstacle course race uh, is open waves like all weekend. There'll be some waves that go out here and there. People can just have fun, go through multiple times, try obstacles multiple times. Um, and then Sunday morning will be the actual race day.
So this is like you're saying it's a 2-day event, um, August 30th and 31st, correct?
Yes.
All right. Uh, so many dates going through my head. I always get confused when it comes to dates. But so how is Saturday set up and how is Sunday set up for like the trail and the OCR, like the waves and the times and stuff?
The actual course for the trail race and the OCR race, like, don't overlap much. There's very little overlap. The OCR course is about 4 miles, and it's both the trail and OCR are kind of like on the southern section of the actual park. So there's like a road that goes through the entire park, and I consider it like there's like the north section above the road, and there's the south section below it. So they both occur on the south section, but the trail side, the trail race more so goes like up into the actual like hill and mountain, and
Right,
actually like
right.
a lot more of the single track and up and down the mountain. The OCR side more so goes along the lake, which is a lot of like gravel path, and then back up the other side of the lake, which is it's like a maintenance road, um, gravel path. We're talking like 8, 10 feet wide gravel. Um, so the actual trail race side of things, much more difficult terrain and um, racing, I guess. The OCR side would be kind of easier running and more focused on the obstacles.
But what about like the start times? Like, so is there OCR on both days and trail race on both days, or is it one or the other?
The open waves for obstacle course racing, open waves just going through the obstacles is open both days, Saturday and Sunday. So anyone who just wants to go out for fun, Saturday or Sunday can come out and go after it. The actual race portion, the trail side, is only Saturday morning. And the obstacle course, the race side, is just Sunday morning. We're
Right.
also doing a last man standing multi-rig event, which some of the Ninja Gym type people are pretty excited about right now. We're setting up a multi-rig kind of at the end, like near the finish line, right? So open waves and the OCR race, it'll be a typical multi-rig with some rig components that you can swing across and everything. But then Sunday afternoon, we're having its own event where it'd be kind of like a band system. It depends on how many people sign up, but it might be like 3 bands, 5 bands, something like that. And a participant will go through the rig, and if they make it through, awesome. They go to round 2, where we adjust something on the rig. Every round, we adjust something. And it just consistently gets a little bit harder as you go. And if you fail it, take a band away. Got to try it again. So it's kind of a last man standing. You keep going through the rig as it consistently gets harder, and we'll see who makes it to the end.
So like if people ever watch the American Ninja Warrior, it'd be like like how they do stages. They mix it up a little bit so it's harder for them each type of round.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But you do get like a few shots with it, and it's also not about speed. Um, it's not like timed. It's just you got to get from point A to point B, and it'll just keep getting harder as it goes. I think that's what's really cool about like multi-rigs is once you have like the actual the framework set up, there's so many ways to adjust it, you know. Um, there's so many different rig components that you could put onto it, and so many different ways you can make it easier or harder by spreading things apart, making things higher or lower. Um, so I think that might be pretty exciting to just switch it up every round and just see people going through it. It'll be very spectator friendly too, just because it's, at the finish line Sunday afternoon after everyone's done racing.
Yeah, because I mean, in general, rigs aren't, the framework isn't really nothing to be, taking pictures of. But like as you said, you can do so much once you have that framework where it's just like floating boards, monkey bars, uh, like if anybody ever did the Indian mud run type thing, they had like 10 rigs, basically the same framework, but they had so many different options and you could do so much with just a normal framework. It's amazing what you can actually do and change.
Yeah, and it doesn't take that long, which is cool. It's just a bunch of like, quick links or ropes or straps, just switching one thing out for another. Uh, there'll probably be a lot of practice and experimentation with it, the week or 10 days prior to when we set it up and start messing with the rig components and how they all work together and, you know, trying to make it harder and not easier as it goes, but also like not too hard so that everyone feels around. But it should be fun.
Yeah, because grip strength, you do a rig, we'll just say there's 10, somebody makes it 10 rounds. Grip strength really plays a key factor, maybe not just technique by that point in time.
Hmm. Yeah, that'll play a role too if it goes pretty far. And also, like if some of these guys are wanting to run the obstacle course race in the morning and then do the multi-rig challenge in the afternoon, it's quite a bit of obstacling for the day. So um, your forearms will be feeling it on Monday.
Now, you said you had a rig set up at the park now. Is it now, or is it going to be soon so people could see it?
There's one there now. We finished it up last week. It's basically like the frame for one of the rigs up on it's like the opposite side of the lake. It's probably a little over halfway into the race. It's up like the gravel maintenance road up there. Uh, let's see. It's we don't have any like components on it yet. Probably in the next like week, we'll start adding some things to it and like start testing some things out. But the overall like structure is in place.
Yeah, 'cause I think that's one of the things that, well, I'm glad that you actually did that so people can actually see it and know you're legitimate. Because let's be honest, we've done some sketchy OCR races in the day where, like
Yeah.
terrain race, where rigs fell apart. So that way people could actually go and see that you're actually putting out a quality, safe product beforehand. If if they're a little hesitant, be like, "Hey, is this a fly by night?" They actually know that you're actually putting effort into making things safe for people, which I think is a really good idea.
Yeah, that along with just the fact that it's the first year putting this on, like I don't have, it's hard to show much, right? Like I don't have pictures or videos of people like going through the course because I haven't done it yet. And that's great for like a marketing standpoint, like to put something out there. You see ads from Spartan Race or Savage Race, and it's like people going through certain obstacles, and like people see it and they're like, "That's cool, I want to try that," and they sign up. For this, it's like the first year, and it's like, how do I get something out there to show people like what it's going to be like so they can get excited? I really pushed for that, and hopefully in the next week or two we can get like some rig stuff on there and like get some pictures and videos of it. I also should be getting like the medals in soon, either this week or next week. Uh, just a few things to try and like push the marketing side of it, of pictures of like what are you actually getting from this, like the other thing is like beer labels. We have a custom beer label that's made for the event that um, Brian Smith up in Clarion with Clarion River Brewing is going to put on. I think it's a hazy IPA that he has, and they'll be at the event as a vendor, and we'll have like the hazy IPAs, and it'll have like Project Mayhem's own custom beer label on it, which should be pretty cool. Those should be coming in a week or two here as well.
So how are you doing like awards or prizes or anything like that?
After the race, there is like an event schedule. One thing we didn't mention was it's Project Mayhem, and there's a little bit of chaos, a little bit of unknown in this. Back to how I said I don't like standardization. I like the unconventional approach, and we are. It might be a dumb idea, it might be stupid, I don't know, but I'm going for it. We're doing like everyone's doing the 10K trail race. You sign up for a 10K trail race, you can do a 10K trail race and a 4 mile OCR race Sunday morning if you sign up for that one. If you want to like go for the awards and go for prizes and go for that podium, it's a 2 by 10K or a 2 by 4 mile. So there's 2 rounds involved. From my point of view, it makes, especially more so on the OCR side of things, like judging, refereeing, watching what's going on, it makes things a little bit easier if you have like 50, 70, 80 people going out and racing and you're trying to watch people on obstacles and all that kind of stuff. Like it's hard to referee something like that. When you have that first round go through and you're like, hey, you're the top 10%. If you want to go for a podium, we're going for round two. And they go back out. It's going to be a lot easier to watch everyone and see some sweet competition coming in and referee just the whole that whole second race of it. Oh, back to the awards. So two events, right? 2 by 10K, 2 by 4 mile. And then following that would be the awards.
Now, is everybody getting a finisher's medal then, or
Yeah, there's finishers medals for everyone. You don't have to do 2 by 10K or 2 by 4 mile. Just do the first one, or even do the open wave, and everyone gets the medal for either the trail race or the OCR race. And then there are custom awards, custom trophies. I'll call them some chain necklace swag for people that get on the podium for the trail side and the OCR side. And then there'll be prizes too. I've publicly said that 8% of sales are going towards prizes. So, that's not much if 20 people show up. That could be a lot if 200-300 people show up. Like, but 8% of sales registration amounts are going towards prizes.
so to clarify a little bit, so we'll just take the trail running because I think that might be the easier of the two to understand for the vast majority of people. So if I wanted to go for a prize in the trail race, I have to do the 2 10K trail race and then like that I make it past the first round, or does everybody just uh is it like a selection, or does everybody get to advance to that second one?
Yeah, that is a very good question. Probably didn't explain it good enough. But everybody starts with the 10K. So Saturday morning, 10K goes off and everybody's out there racing. It's going to depend on like how many signups there are and how many people show up, I guess. But overall, like for example, let's say you know, let's say there's 100 people that are running the 10K trail race. We might take the top like 10% of guys and 10% of women and offer them the chance to go back out and go for the second round. That could be like 8 or 10 or 12% the top, or maybe 20%. It kind of depends on like how many people show up. But overall, that second round, you probably like it'd be great to have, you know, I don't know, 7 to 15 guys, 7 to 15 women who are going for round two to compete for the top 3 spots.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Just from a competitive standpoint, like it's a way to, I don't want to say weed out, but you know what I mean? Like that competition to who wants to like push and push, who has the stamina. It's a way to, for those who really want to go for it, I guess, show
Yeah.
off or something like that.
Yeah. It changes up strategy like so much too. I mean, you have done quite a bit of racing in your life. And I don't know if you've seen something like this, but the strategy it takes for round one versus round two is like entirely different. Like round one, it's like you're not racing for the podium. You're just like you need to stay in contention with that top 10% of guys and hold on. And maybe that's just like a simple tempo run. And you're like, oh, I'm just chilling and I can go hard for round two. Or maybe you need to push it. It just kind of depends who else shows up. You also learn the course a little bit better after that first round, so you kind of know what to do. And then it just, like you said, weeds out the course. It makes the actual race participants like there's a lower amount, so there's not as much like holdbacks or getting in the way if you're stuck on a single track and you're behind someone and there's 60 people in the race, like it makes it easier to actually do the course to the best of your ability that second round. uh Going back to Project Mayhem with some chaos, shortcuts. We probably have like 2 shortcuts that are on the 10K. Um, you can cut off 0.1 miles with like one of them if you're willing to take a big risk and do something a little bit treacherous. A couple little things like that, just kind of switching things up. And everything's going to be like super well marked. There'll be like a couple wood signs and everything for like the shortcut area, like take the shortcut, or if you want to take the easy route, extra 0.1 miles, whatever. Um, that goes into your strategy as well, you know. Um, I'm just trying to, you know, I love trail running, I love trail races, but the conventional 10K trail race out there, I'm just I'm going against it a good bit here, you know,
That
doing something a little bit different. And overall, I hope people just have fun with it, have a good time, and want to come back next year.
I'm actually kind of interested in that concept of the shortcut because well,
Mm.
just like you're hitting at that, maybe the longer distance is we'll just say it's a flat double wide track, whereas maybe the shortcut is, you know, a tenth or two shorter, but it's a technical uphill. So it's like
Yeah.
strategy wise, what do you do in that heat of the moment? Do you go for the time, or do you think you could make up some or save your legs? I definitely like that concept a lot.
Yeah, I want to have more of that as well. And this will continue. Like I said, I think it said earlier that some people might think it's dumb or stupid, you know, unconventional trail racing, but I don't care. I think it's cool, and I'm gonna go for it. So
I
we'll
actually
see how it
think
goes.
that might take off if people actually hear about that because it just to me when you said that, that would be awesome to have in like say a maybe well, I guess like a 50K or something like that, or a half marathon in the woods because once you get to those type of courses, there's so many different trails you can take and use. I, I'm surprised nobody's actually ever thought of that or implemented that before.
Yeah. It makes me think of like I think we're sort of similar ages, but I know back when I was a little kid, there was these books that were popular for like choose your own adventure. You ever read a book like that where it's like you're like reading through and it's like if you want this to happen, you skip to chapter 42, or if you want this to happen, you skip to chapter 31. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but like I remember reading those books as a kid, and I like that concept is pretty cool. Like, you know, you get to choose which path you want to go, and at the end of the day, like it should be somewhat fair on both routes. It's just one, maybe you can run downhill really quick, and one you're gonna run downhill super slow because it's so technical, but it's a little bit shorter. So which route you're gonna take?
Yeah, it's a gamble.
Yeah, yeah.
So, what kind of obstacles will be there?
That is evolving still. I do have an obstacle list that I put out. I think around like 17 or 18 obstacles. For the most part, that's like 80% accurate. There are some little things here and there. Like being the first year, there's just a lot of small things that I'm picking up. And there's some things that would be cool to do, but like I haven't yet looked into how to do it or what I need. And there's just some things I'm trying to figure out. So it'd be cool to bring in some extra obstacles too, but time will tell. Overall, there'll be like a few multi rigs. That'll probably be those are like the big builds. There'll be some of the basics like 4 foot wall, 6 foot wall. We might have like a 7 foot wall in there. If you remember, Spartan Race used to have like the over under through.
Yeah.
Probably gonna have that. Some like hurdles. There'll be one big thing here that I think people will really enjoy. If you've ever done like West Virginia's Spartan Race, they are really well known for their swim. People love that obstacle that they have. There's a few Spartan races that'll put like a swim out there, and Bradys Run Park has an awesome lake. They have swimming there. and we're going to do a swim obstacle, so a lake swim. We're following kind of the Spartan way, where it's like just for safety and also like insurance purposes, everyone's wearing a life jacket. I don't care how good of a swimmer you are, like everyone's got to put on a life jacket, go out in the water, come back. Um, for insurance reasons, we've got to have a couple of lifeguards out there. Um, you know, CrossFit had an incident last year, and like we don't want to see anything bad happen in our races. So safety is extremely important in that. But at the end of the day, like I think people are going to love that there's a lake swim, especially late August. It might be a super hot weekend. And I remember doing it in West Virginia, just going out there and just kind of kicking back and having a good time and like floating around the lake. And it's a nice way to break up your race, whether you're racing or just like hanging out. Lake swim is pretty fun. So that's a big one.
Is it
Uh,
people? Well, since they're going to hear that, is it part like a deep part of the lake, or how deep is the water? Because I know that'll be a question that you'll probably get now that people know there's a water obstacle.
I don't know how deep the lake goes. I know that there's a beach area where they allow swimming, and it's going to kind of start pretty close to there and then go out pretty far and then come back. It'll be a loop, like one way in and one way out. So like you can drop off your phone if you have it with you, or like a pack or anything like that. You're able to drop that off and then do the loop and come back in. But being that you'll have life jackets, the depth, I don't know if it matters too much, besides roping it off, but it'll probably be a couple 100 meters of a swim.
All right. Well, sticking with the obstacle theme right now, is it mandatory completion or penalties? Because I know different OCR races have, for the awards, or since people are going to advance, do they have to complete them all, or they have to do like a penalty loop? And are you going to referee at all at each of those, like say the rigs, maybe not the carries per se, but the rigs in general?
Yeah, it's mandatory completion. So it's similar to like Savage Race, how they do it. Um, People do love Savage Race, but one complaint that they do get sometimes is that they are very well known for like putting a pretty difficult rig towards the end of their events, and they switch it up quite a bit, and sometimes they're like really hard, and people just keep trying to go through and they just can't, and like the completion rate at that end is pretty low. I don't want to see that. So I want rigs and obstacles that are challenging and fun, and you know 60-70% of people are going to be able to swing by on their first try, and the rest of the people can swing by on their second, third, fourth, maybe fifth try. um, I don't want to see a large portion of people like failing over and over and over again and having to like not complete their race because they can't get through it. That's not the goal here.
So are they going to have like a band? So let's just say I fail the rig or something like that. I just can't complete it for some odd reason. Um, so how do you know that person beside me did it and I didn't then?
There'll be a band, and it's only on the race portion. So, and then the like the rigs that are going to be difficult will have someone there volunteering to check it out and watch. Um, it kind of goes back a little bit too to how it's a 2 by 4 mile, right? So, I assume everyone's gonna be a stand-up citizen and not cheat or anything, or just kind of swing by. Um, but also like you're caught a little bit on that second round if you kind of like cheat your way through, or like say you did it and didn't actually do it and get through, and you're like, hey, you're in the top 10%. Well, guess what? You're going again, and there's going to be much fewer people, and our volunteers will like have an easier time refereeing and seeing what people are actually doing. versus like dozens of people going through, right? So it kind of helps with that a little bit. And then, like I said, band system. And if you really got to give up, yeah, got to give up the band. But at the end of the day, like we're going to test stuff out. I don't want to see like fails over and over and over again and people just like not being able to complete the race.
Yeah, because then people just don't have fun, and then the word gets out, oh, this isn't fun. The goal is to build this race, I assume, um, and then you want people to have fun and have an experience that sticks with them for years on end.
Yeah, and to add to that too, if you want a very difficult multi-rig, you want a significant challenge that's gonna like really tear other people apart. That's what the last man standing multi-rig challenge Sunday afternoon is for. You know, um, we have fun on the rigs during the day, and then we can go after the multi-rig in the afternoon to really step it up.
So, what would you think the difficulty level is for your race compared to other OCR brands? Like, can you compare it to, say, this brand or the other brand? Or what's your goal for at least for this year?
In terms of difficulty of
Yes.
obstacles, I would say the the obstacle course race would be similar to a Spartan race in terms of difficulty, but the actual like rigs, multi-rigs themselves, and some of the obstacles will be like different. Um, it's not going to be like the same Spartan obstacles, and it's not going to be the same Savage obstacles, but in terms of difficulty, uh, Spartan race is usually one where like people can get through it. There's some things where people will fail, but if they didn't have penalties, they're usually items that like people could get through on their second or third or fourth attempt.
Now, is there going to be any bathrooms or water stops that people can utilize on the course?
Yes, the park itself is like pretty good about having porta johns along the way. Um, the course itself, like I run quite a bit, and just in that 4 mile section of like the OCR course, I might encounter, you know, 6 or 8 porta johns along the way, maybe at like 2 or 3 different spots. So it might be roughly every like 1 or 1.5 miles, I'd have something. And then definitely on the trail race and on the obstacle course race. The trail race, we might try to get like 2 water stations set up, but it'll at least be one. Same with the OCR side. And like I said, there's a little bit of overlap with the 2 events, and that makes it a little bit easier where we can set up a water station, some nutrition or something, uh, kind of in a spot where it's advantageous to the trail side and OCR side.
Now, I'm assuming you're going to have like medical personnel on hand in case something happens and stuff like that.
We have the 2 lifeguards for the swim, and we have some volunteers that are coming. Um, I forget the verbiage for like what some of those type of people are, but we have a couple volunteers who have some like certifications as well. And then I think like the park said that the I think it's like the state police or something will um, be on site or just drive by more often or something when there's events. I don't I don't remember for sure,
That's
but
I like how they just they're just going to drive by a little bit more.
yeah, just because there's more people, more going on, like for safety maybe. Um, Overall, like I'm in talks with like the park director over there, and it's whatever they require and whatever my insurance requires is what I'm gonna do because we want to be safe and do things on the up and up.
What about the goals for this year and beyond for this race?
The goal of the race, think it would be a success if people completed the weekend and came up to me and were like, "This was great. I want to come back next year." You know, uh, that would be a great feeling to just see it be a success and for people to have fun and want to show up again and tell their friends and family about it and come back next year. Overall, it's probably going to be a once a year event. Um, we'll see how the first year goes, but I do expect it'll probably be. It's probably not going to be like the same weekend, and also it's Project Mayhem. It's probably not going to be the same race format. Might switch it up. Next year might be on the north side of the park. It might be a 1K OCR event and a 5K trail race or a half marathon trail race. Like it's going to switch up. Um, is it easier to keep it the same? Definitely. But it's Project Mayhem and I want to switch it up and, try something a little bit different each year. And I want people just to come back and, you know, get prepared for the unknown and trying something different.
So, what made you came up with the name Project Mayhem, or how did you come up with it in general? Just because of the chaos that you want to have?
Yeah, a little bit. Project Mayhem is kind of from Fight Club, like the underground, like the movie, the Underground Fight Club, where they uh caused a lot of mischief and went out into the town and kind of destroyed things and sabotage and domestic terrorism type stuff that those guys were doing. That's not my approach towards this domestic terrorism or whatever. That's not what this is about. But it's more so that aspect of like breaking down like the norms and traditions of what people think of as like a 10K trail race or 5K or 4 mile OCR race. It's kind of going unconventional with it, with kind of what we just talked about earlier of like, hey, it's a 2x4 mile, 2x10K. There's shortcuts, right? There's like water crossings. There's rigs that might change between events or something. Uh, just kind of breaking apart the norms for what people are used to. So that's kind of the Project Mayhem there. And I apologize for saying domestic terrorism 2 or 3 times now. You might get flagged by YouTube or something.
Eh, they'll get over it.
Yeah.
So, how can people find Project Mayhem, let's say on Facebook or Instagram?
I think Facebook is just like Project Mayhem Racing, facebook.com. Um, there's a website, projectmayhemracing.com. The Instagram is like project_mayhem_racing. And the Facebook, I don't know, it comes up with a profile. But if you just search Project Mayhem Racing, it should come up.
Well, I'll put the links in
Yeah.
the whatever the information down below once I get this up, so that way people can find it easier. Because like I said, this is August 30th and 31st at Bradys Run Park.
Yes.
I got to emphasize that because, like I said, dates, I'm always horrible with dates. So I got to emphasize August 30th and 31st. It's a 2-day event, Saturday and Sunday. So, and there's a trail race and OCR event. So people should check them both out and sign up for both, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah. Registration, we have like, you can do like just the trail race. You can also add on like the open OCR course where you can do just the OCR course. Or there's like a VIP pass for like the whole weekend. You can just do everything. There's fees of like 1.2% or something that the Wix website like takes, which is way different than like you sign up for a Spartan race and they tack on,
40, 50
40%
bucks.
fees. Yeah, it starts at $100, and by the end of the day, it's like 400 or something. It's like, where did this come from? Um, Prices are pretty reasonable, hopefully, in comparison to other stuff. Um, we don't have all the bling of like a giant Spartan race, but I think it should be, people should have quite a bit of fun, and our medals are pretty sweet. Free beer at the end if you want it. We'll have snacks, food, bananas, whatever. Trying to get a few other vendors and stuff to come in for like, nutrition and drink products and stuff. Um, but it should be a fun time.
I'm trying to think if I had anything else. Is there anything else that you really want to add or think that we missed? I think we touched a heck of a lot.
Yeah, quite a bit. Um,
Probably way more than you were expecting.
Maybe. One thing is I'm putting it out there. I'm calling it the hardest 10K in the Pittsburgh area. Is that true? I don't know for sure, but we're gonna find out. I have yet to see something that's like more difficult than this. And also like it's a 2 by 10K sort of. Um, but overall, like I wanted it to be freaking difficult. And I know the trails super well at Bradys Run Park. And I've got a lot of like ups and downs, switchbacks, going through some water, some technical terrain. I've got to install a few ropes at one section of the course because you might need it to get up the hill. Um, but that's kind of the goal. Like, it would be cool to say it is the hardest 10K in Pittsburgh. I think on Strava, it shows it as like 1,300 something feet of gain, which for a 10K in Pittsburgh is like quite a bit. Um,
Well, people don't know until they come and experience it themselves. So you could say it's the hardest 10K they've ever seen in the world until they come and experience. They can't say otherwise.
yeah, yeah. I'm just gonna say it until somebody says, no, that's wrong. And then maybe I'll keep saying it. But I don't know, man. That's we touched on a lot. Um, Registration, yeah, it's gonna be exciting. Um, are you free that weekend? Might show up.
I plan on being there in some aspect, whether it's
All right,
volunteering,
cool.
video, and participating. I'll be there somehow, some way.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
can't wait. Um, yeah, just follow along. Probably Instagram and Facebook. Um, Instagram, I probably post the most amount of stuff on, some stories here and there. And then coming in the next like week or 10 days, I should have some like cool pictures of the actual medals that people are going to get. And I should have the actual awards that the podium spots will get. So those will be coming soon. And then I don't know. It's like
oh, wait, I do have one other
okay.
thing. Um,
Yeah.
that OCR like report group that you do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you want to talk about that real quick, because I almost forgot to mention that and what that's all about.
The OCR directory.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, that was kind of just like a little side project I did. I started like over a year ago or something. OCRdirectory.com. And then there's an Instagram for it too. Uh, I don't know. It was just like a little side thing. I'm a huge fan of like podcasts and listen to a lot of trail running, OCR type podcasts, along with like other stuff. And I always found that like I listen to podcasts while I'm like running or biking or driving or like cooking, all these situations where like I can't take some notes or something or like jot some notes down, and I would just find that I there's a lot of super good information in some of these podcasts I was listening to, and I would either like forget it or it wouldn't be relevant right now. Maybe it would be relevant in like a year from now or for a friend like 6 months from now. And I'd be like, oh, I think I heard something really good from this podcast. And I don't remember which one it was or where it was or what date range or whatever, what it was called. Um, so the where was I going with this? But the idea behind that website was kind of what if I could grab information that often gets put in these podcasts and put it onto like a website or just general information out there where people can actually like look it up instead of, trying to search through podcasts from years ago. Um, so the goal with that was like training type stuff and OCR related type news here and there. Um, and it's kind of evolved into, I don't know, statistics, like some stats and such. Like I do like the stats when it comes to OCR racing as well. And some other people like that too. Like I'll have some stats on there about stuff. Um, and I don't know. We'll
Well,
see where it
yeah,
goes. It's just kind of a side thing.
I just wanted to touch on that before I forgot about it because I knew that was something you're involved with as well, and I wanted to help promote that just a little bit.
Yeah. Um, there's some good info on there. Uh, More recently, started doing like the prediction contest. Took off a little bit. Some people were interested, but like we were saying earlier, there was a lot more high level competition in OCR, and it was like fun to watch and fun to watch people compete and battle each other. And there was a lot of interest in like predicting who's going to win certain world championships and all. And now it's like the competition's a little bit weaker and people aren't as interested. But I'm trying to bring some of the prediction contests back. So like Trifecta World Championship is in West Virginia in about a month or so. So we're on the website. I'm doing like a prediction contest of that, trying to get a list of some pretty good names who are going to show up, and people can like pick and choose. Like, oh, these I like this athlete, or I think he or she is going to win the thing. Um, Little things like that. Just playing around with it. It's fun.
Yeah, back in the day when Atkins and Hunter McIntyre were back and forth, biceps win.
Yeah,
Uh,
biceps win races. Not anymore.
so, all right, I guess that's about it. Thank you for coming on, and I'm looking forward to being there in some kind of aspect. I'll probably participate, but I also want to get a bunch of footage to help you promote it down in future years. So we'll talk about that closer to time, I guess. So Paul Henry, thank you for coming on, and look forward to seeing this race firsthand.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right,
Uh,
see you
I'll see you
soon.
out there.
Thank you for listening to the episode today. If you or anyone you know has any amazing stories, adventures, or interesting information you or they may want to share, please reach out to me anytime. On the next screen, you can scan the QR code or type in the Linktree website to easily find all the social media locations Only Eye Athletics is located. Take a second and hit the follow button as you visit each one.